Good afternoon. Welcome to the University of New England and to the graduation ceremony for the awards in the Faculty of Medicine and Health. Graduates, family, friends and the UNE community, may I ask you all to now please stand for the entry of the academic procession and the Acting Chancellor of the University of New England, and please also remain standing to join us in singing the National Anthem. Thank you.
Please be seated. In the spirit of reconciliation, the University of New England respects and acknowledges that its people, programs and facilities are built on land and surrounded by a sense of belonging, both ancient and contemporary, of the world's oldest living culture. In doing so, UNE values and respects Indigenous knowledge systems as a vital part of the knowledge capital of Australia. I would also like to pay my respect to elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who are here today. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is David Van Arnholt, and it is my great honour to welcome you to this very special occasion, today's graduation ceremony. I have the privilege of representing the Chancellor, Dr. Sarah Pearson, and the University Council. On their behalf, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the graduation ceremony for the Faculty of Medicine and Health. Welcome especially to our graduands and your family and friends for joining in this very special occasion. I know many of you have travelled a long way today, and I thank you and welcome you. Welcome also to our staff who are here today to share in the celebration of your achievements. This is a wonderful moment of recognition for all of us, for our students who've worked so hard and can finally take time to see just how far you've come. And please do that, take the time to reflect on your achievements. For your families and friends and loved ones who've been there cheering you on, and for all our staff at UNE who have supported and inspired you every step of the way. I also welcome special guest, today's occasional address speaker, Professor Chris Phillips AM, Vice-Chancellor and CEO, Professor Chris Moran, Emeritus Professor Alison Sheridan, today's Esquire Bedell, and members of the UNE Council and executive staff. Graduations are a very special time for the university. They're an occasion when we celebrate the achievements of students and the attainment of your awards and degrees, and also acknowledge the hard work and dedication of the staff who have helped you get this far. Graduations are also a time when we as a university can honour those who have made a special contribution to the university and the local community and society as a whole. For many of you, this will be your first time on campus. Welcome. We hope this place will be one of significance for you, as it has been for generations of graduates since the middle of last century. We're excited to share this campus with you on this special day. I hope you take the opportunity to look around. It's great to see all our students enjoying the environment, and it's a special place to study, whether you live on campus or you come here for intensives, and it's certainly a special place for graduation. Graduation ceremonies date back to the Middle Ages and tend to be reasonably formal occasions. At UNE, while we honour the traditions of graduation ceremonies, we try to make this day as warm and as engaging for everyone. Embrace it if it works for you, a bit of pomp and ceremony and the fancy outfits. It's a bit of a different day. Take the time to reflect and appreciate what you've achieved. It is now my pleasure to declare this ceremony open and to call upon Larissa Hoy to make welcome to country.
Dangana, and good afternoon, everyone. Yaka akanani, yaka apanga kolona hoi, ua irupela Barbara Ahoy, ua irupela Ethel de Silva, nyala kiunanga injinga kiuna anawan, nyaka kiuna wangaka, inja anewan kiuna, inja nyambika kiuna, nyambika urala, anandaka, nyangandaka kiunanga, nyangandaka wangan, ndaka rakina nyambika kiunda, nerima ronyira inja kiunda. How are you all? I'm Arkan Skin, and my name is Larissa Ahoy. My father is Colin Ahoy, and his mother is Barbara Ahoy. Her mother is Ethel de Silva, and we come from this country, Anawan country. Let's all listen and learn from country. You stand on the traditional lands of the Anawan people, and my people have called this our home since the first sunrise. We have ancient relationships with our neighbours from other parts of the tablelands, the plains and the coast. I'd like to pay my respects to elders, past, present and future, and extend that same welcome to you all here today. On behalf of my people, welcome.
Thank you, Larissa, for that lovely warm welcome. I now invite the Chair of Academic Board, Professor Adrian Walsh, to present the candidates for their degrees.
Would the graduands please stand? Acting Chancellor, I submit to you a list of candidates as set out in the program who have completed all requirements and are entitled to be admitted to their respective academic degrees and awards.
Thank you. In the name of the Council, I admit these candidates to their respective academic degrees and awards. Congratulations.
Please be seated. Would the graduates who are also receiving the New England Award please stand? Acting Chancellor, the New England Award is granted to selected graduates who have demonstrated outstanding service to the university and wider community and commitment to others. It's a non-academic award given by the university in recognition of the skills, attributes, leadership and personal qualities that are developed through extracurricular activity, committee membership, voluntary work and good citizenship.
Through your actions to achieve the New England Award, you have shown yourself to be a high-achieving, proactive and outward-looking member of the UNE community. UNE is proud of the relationships that we have developed with organisations across Australia as a result of your efforts. On behalf of the Council and the UNE community, I extend to you our thanks and congratulations.
Would the graduates who are also receiving the Vice-Chancellor's Scholar Award please stand? Acting Chancellor, the Vice-Chancellor's Scholar Award is granted to selected bachelor's or master's degree graduates who are graduating with a grade point average of 6.7 or higher. It's granted to recognise the achievements of our most academically high-achieving students.
By achieving the Vice-Chancellor Scholar Award, you have shown yourself to be hardworking and a disciplined member of the university community with a determination to succeed. On behalf of the Council and the UNE community, I extend our hearty congratulations. Well done.
Acting Chancellor, I now have the honour to present to you all those graduates newly admitted to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy who are able to be present at this ceremony. Supervised by Professor Mafunwi Maple, a violation of coherence, a normative inquiry study of firefighters' experiences of exposure to suicide. Tara Jane Lai, also receiving the Chancellor's Doctoral Research Medal. Supervised by Associate Professor Suzanne Koch, a community-based disaster mental health intervention, CBDMHI, adapted for rural Australian communities. Caitlin Pike. Supervised by Professor Kim Usher. Now, take my apologies for this. Gwirabaran, Close to Fire, conceptualising, it's hard to see, nostalgia through an Indigenous lens as an offering for hope and change. Kisani Upward. Supervised by Associate Professor Kylie Rice, Adjustment Disaster in Australians with the Experience of Cancer. Bernadette Edith Harris, First Class. I should have said that was the Doctor of Philosophy, Clinical Psychology, and the last one here is the same Doctor of Philosophy, clinical psychology. So supervised by Associate Professor Kylie Rice, quality of life, spiritual wellbeing and meaning-making in individuals with cancer and their carers. Mahalia Angela Martin. These scholars stand at the peak of academic achievement. Through years of dedication, intellectual rigour and creativity, they've not only mastered their discipline, but have also contributed new knowledge to the world. Their work embodies the spirit of discovery that defines the university. So, in honour of their accomplishments, I now invite all staff from the procession to please rise and join me in acclaim for our research graduates. Okay, Acting Chancellor, I now have the honour to invite the delegate for the Dean of Faculty of Medicine and Health, Professor Jane Clark, to present those graduates newly admitted to postgraduate awards who are able to be present at this ceremony.
Acting Chancellor, I now have the honour to present to you those graduates newly admitted to the degree of Master, Graduate Diploma and Graduate Certificate from the Faculty of Medicine and Health. Master of Counselling, Tiffany Kelly. Darren Michael Lowe. Rhiannon Walls. Master of Psychology Clinical, Holly Marie Sutton. Chrysula Tsapas. Master of Social Work Qualifying, Samuel Garrow. Roderick Spencer Mallender. Graduate Diploma in Counselling, Stefania Palotta. Chloe Ann Sunke. Graduate Diploma in Psychology, Lyndall Bolton. Ashley Douglas Forbes. Chui Hua Ko. Fiona Louise Newman. Graduate Certificate in Public Health, One Health, Hamali Kamalini Robert. Acting Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of postgraduate awards to those graduates who are able to be present at this ceremony.
Thank you, Professor Clark. Thank you. I now call upon the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Chris Moran, to introduce today's occasional address speaker.
Thank you, Chancellor. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a long way from where I stand to where you sit. Thank you for sitting and enjoying our shade. People graduating today can hear your voice, but only if you yell. We're a tiny graduation, but that makes it no less of a ceremony of significance for you and for our graduates today. So please let them hear your voice. Please also don't feel frozen to your chairs if you'd like to come down with the camera when the person you've come to spend time with is coming up close. You feel free to move around. You're not in church, you're at a celebration. So please feel free to enjoy it. And once again, we're a long way away and they just need to hear your voices. Larissa, thank you very much for your welcome to country. It's always such a pleasure to hear language spoken to give us a sense of the way language and country associate. I also acknowledge the traditional owners of all the lands where the students and staff of our university operate, where we live, learn, work and play, and that really covers the majority of the land of Australia. I pay respects to the knowledge holders of all of those places, past and present, and I extend that to our graduates today and to you in the audience if you are Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander descent. We try in our university to match words with deeds, with actions. When I arrived here, I opened my cupboard for the first graduation ceremony. I was absolutely petrified. I still get nervous. There's such important events to everybody, you don't want to make a mess. And I found a rather old Vice-Chancellor's grand, but rather old Vice-Chancellor's robe in the cupboard and a hat that didn't fit. And I thought, are you allowed to change the Vice-Chancellor's robes? Presumably every now and then they get to a point of age where you think, well, maybe there should be a new one. Universities have policies, procedures and regulations for absolutely everything, right, graduates? Everything, everywhere you look. So I thought there must be a policy and a regulation for how you change a Vice-Chancellor's gown. But turns out we couldn't find one of those. So that meant we had the opportunity to do a little bit of creativity with a new gown. Today I wear that gown for the first time and a hat that fits, which is terrific because it doesn't fall off when I shake my head. So I took some opportunities. I took advice from Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people associated with our university and advice from a range of people. I didn't want to do anything without talking to people. And I did three things in making the gown. One, a gown that fits. That was good. This will also fit a much larger Vice-Chancellor, so that's good because I haven't been getting larger since I've been here. But the first thing I did is I changed this lapel, which is a beautiful metal thread embossment, and it was oak trees. And there are a few oak trees around, particularly in the New England and here, but they're not really of here. So then I went down and I spoke to our botanists and I said, what's of here? What's special of a plant of this place? And they said, well, there is actually a plant that's named after the person, the Professor Beadle, who our herbarium is named after. And I said, could I please have a look at, do you have samples? They said, you're in the herbarium. Welcome, new Vice-Chancellor. And so they brought out the samples and it was beautiful. And grevillea is beautiful. And so for those of you who wish to come and have a look later, I now have a grevillea, a local plant of this place that puts our feet in this place as representing the vegetation here. The second thing I did is I asked a lot about the potential for the inclusion of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander or indigeneity into the gown, so to begin to bring presence and something beyond words to the words of acknowledgement of knowledge and country. And we were very lucky to have a person in our university who is a renowned artist. That person just welcomed you to country. And if I might, Larissa, I might ask you to come and stand next to me. Larissa doesn't want to give voice to this, we've talked about it, but she said she would stand with me. So I discussed with Larissa what we might do. I took my old gown out and we looked at various possibilities of the way indigeneity might be included in the gown of the Vice-Chancellor. I then asked her after a conversation whether she would be prepared to do that. She said she would go away and think about it. Time passed. Quite a lot of time passed. And then I had a diary entry that turned up that said, Larissa ahoy. It's like, oh, she must be coming back to talk to me about it again. I think we need to yarn a lot about these things. But she didn't. She appeared with a painting. The painting is beautiful to look at. And then she told me the story of the painting. The painting that she's produced is in the foyer. You're very welcome to go and have a look at the actual beautiful painting that Larissa has produced. She started in a place I certainly didn't expect, and she started with the family of the Vice-Chancellor. That struck me very deeply, that was the first place. Larissa looked at me when I suggested that was, to me, a bit of a surprising place to start, and she looked at me essentially saying, why wouldn't you start with family? So, lesson one. And the next outer ring from the family are three beautiful elements that represent the campus at Armidale, the campus in Sydney, where we've been for a very, very long time, and our campus presence in Tamworth, which some of you may or may not know. We're developing that for the community of Tamworth. The next outer ring is the satellites of the University of New England. Right throughout our region, we have what I call or think of as portals, where students who are remote from us throughout the region can get access to facilities and if you like, touch the community of the University of New England in relatively short distance from where they live. And then the final outer ring of emblematic ring on the painting is the collaborations, associations and linkages that we have with other institutions near and far. The whole lot is linked together with beautiful line work, and in between that are clusters of intense colours of both metallic blue and brown colours that represent the groups of communities that link all of those places and provide the connectivity of the University of New England to our community. When she appeared with this painting, then the next question was, what on earth do we do with a painting and a Vice-Chancellor's gown? And this was the answer. Thank you, Larissa. As I said at the beginning, Vice-Chancellors' gowns have a habit of lasting a long time. I suspect they outlast Vice-Chancellors, and I would very much encourage you, this Vice-Chancellor, I will have Vice-Chancellors presumably forever. There's a few upstairs and rocking chairs. I put a bottle of whiskey outside the door each night. It disappears, so I think they're still up there. I just wanted to reflect a little to you as graduates today on the concept of community. It's very clear that in graduating today, you're meeting an individual aspiration, perhaps a family aspiration, of something you wanted to achieve, a stepping stone to somewhere you're trying to go. As a university, we have our aspirations and we have a journey that we're on. The journey that we're focusing on now as the next phase of our university is essentially a return to the very roots, the very foundation of the University of New England. Many of you won't know that when the University of New England was formed, the only universities that existed in our countries were in the centre of capital cities. And the only way you could go to those universities, essentially, was to be from an elite family and to be extremely wealthy. There were very small numbers of people. And then someone started a university somewhere else. Happened to be here, and it happened to be here because of the community. And they started with the concept of access to education at university for everybody. It was wild that they would have done that. It's almost impossible to imagine they would have done it in the manor house that sits behind you as the starting point, but nevertheless, here we are. From the community, for the community, connected in a way that Larissa's painting expresses in great beauty. So our steps forward as a university are to make our connections into community far more intentional and far less an accident of you gaining a degree and doing wonderful things. Don't worry, we will continue to own all the wonderful things we do. You're about to hear of exactly that from our occasional address speaker when I get around to introducing her to you. So please consider what you might do. Please consider in meeting the next steps of your aspiration, how you might take those first intentional steps on our behalf into community. There is no doubt in my mind that the major thing that the regional communities of Australia miss, that our metropolitan communities take for granted, are health services and other people's services, the services associated with our children, our aged. You represent that capability. This university wants to take strong steps forward to provide connectivity in those services. We graduate doctors, nurses, nutritionists, psychologists, pharmacists, social workers, a whole range of health services and more, psychologists, a whole range of those health services that our communities desperately need. So I would ask you, in us stepping forward into our new strategy, how you might bring pressure to bear back on the university to help make that real, to help make what you've learned and what you're graduating in a pathway to service delivery so those people can get the services. There's no lack of demand for them, there's no lack of need for them, there's the lack of you. Now, I'm not trying to put it too much on all of you that you have to go and work in regional Australia, but I'd really like it if you could all come and work in regional Australia. We need you here, and if you need support from the university and you have ideas about how the university might make that real, we're here to listen, and we will attempt to mobilise to you. That isn't a promise to do anything you come and ask. Obviously, I can't do that. So thank you for my very long acknowledgement of country and a few words there of hopefully reasonably unashamed push for regional Australia. It's why we were formed, and I think it is an appropriate new strategy for our university to go back to those foundations and to ask questions for 2025 and beyond. What does that really mean? We don't turn away from our metropolitan presence. As I said, a university for everybody. There was a massive storm of people from the west of a little town down south called Sydney because they had no access to university education. And we have maintained a very strong presence of people from, particularly from Western Sydney, but also from Western Melbourne and Western Brisbane and Perth, because they know that the university here understands what it means to not be right in the middle of a city and not be drawn straight into those universities, even though there's far more of them today. So we still maintain a very strong presence for that important community in Western Sydney in particular. Since UNE's first Vice-Chancellor, Sir Robert Madgwick, gave an occasional address at UNE's 1959 graduation, this podium has been followed by hundreds of fascinating speakers, both UNE alumni and others, who take the opportunity to impart their wisdom and experience on the graduating cohort. It's difficult for you not to sit down here in the sun and think, can this be over quickly? I've got a celebration, I've got a family waiting, I've spent this many years trying to get here, with this guy just stop. But can I just ask you, there's a little thing that I like to think about. Does anyone play golf? When you play golf, only a microsecond matters. It's the microsecond when the club hits the ball. I could never master that. The rest of it is just distraction. Your occasional address speaker is that microsecond. So if you can stay zoomed in here for the next little while, because the wisdom might not come to you for what she says for some time. You might be somewhere completely distant, completely separate, and think, that's what she meant, or that's what she said now, or that's what it means to me. But if you're zoned out in the heat and just thinking about that great dinner, perhaps a glass of champagne, cuddles with your family, you might miss it. Professor Christine Phillips AM is a distinguished physician, medical educator and advocate whose career exemplifies the transformative power of compassionate healthcare. As Professor of Social Foundations of Medicine at ANU and Medical Director of Companion House Refugee Medical Service, she has dedicated her life to serving society's most vulnerable, while revolutionising how we train future doctors. A UNE alumna with a graduate diploma of continuing education, Professor Phillips credits her Armidale studies with providing a transformative perspective that shaped her entire career. Her journey in medicine began with a confronting visit to Kamarungi Aboriginal Reserve at age 16, igniting a lifelong commitment to social justice in healthcare. This early experience taught her what others choose to ignore and to approach medicine through the lens of equity and compassion. Professor Phillips has spent decades at the forefront of healthcare crises and innovation. During the HIV/AIDS epidemic, she provided compassionate end-of-life care when stigma ran high, treating young men dying too early. She later co-founded the Refugee Health Network of Australia and led the development of international standards for working with refugees and migrants for the World Health Organization. Her groundbreaking work integrating dance, music and art into medical education at ANU challenges future doctors to think beyond diagnosis. By exposing students to social sciences, she helps them understand the human experience of illness and injustice, teaching that medicine requires not just clinical excellence, but moral courage and social awareness. Recognised as a member of the Order of Australia for her significant services to medicine, medical education and refugee health, Professor Phillips embodies the principle that kindness and social justice are fundamental to healing. Professor Phillips embodies the principle that kindness and social justice are fundamental to healing. Her remarkable journey demonstrates how one person's commitment can reshape healthcare for society's most vulnerable. Members of Council, graduands, guests, I am honoured to introduce Professor Christine Phillips as your occasional address speaker this afternoon. Please give her a warm welcome.
Thank you. Here is my microsecond. Vice-Chancellor, graduates, friends and families and colleagues, thank you for inviting me to this distinguished occasion. It is a fine thing to graduate today and a fine thing to be a colleague and a friend of this university and in future of you. I celebrate your achievements. I want to reflect today with my friend, the Fly, on that connection with the University of New England, which you all now will have, and which I have had for the last 25 years. It begins with an Afghan proverb: even on the tallest mountain, there is a path. I will tell you my story about that path because in many ways I found it in this university. This was the university that taught me to think. I grew up in a small town on the Murray River in the land of the Yorta Yorta Nation, and that river used to flood regularly. When the levee banks broke, when they were breached, all of us, men, women, children, would work together to save the town. And I had seen people in our town working together too when the town was threatened by fire and drought. And I thought it would be a great thing to do good work in the world as I had seen in that small town that made me. So I left that town to study medicine at a big and famous university. And by the time I graduated as a doctor, I felt very small and ineffectual. My 6 years of study were like wandering up the side of that mountain without a path. I had little confidence that I would enjoy medicine or that I would be any good at it. But then I found a path. Almost as soon as I began working as a junior doctor, I enrolled in a teaching course, which tells you how little confidence I had that I had a future career in medicine. And in those days, the only way to do that was by distance, and the only university that offered that was the University of New England. So I began studying a diploma of continuing education to teach adults. And that was like walking into the sun. Here was a path, and here were people, and here I was learning a way to think and solve hard problems affecting the people on the lands that I was living and working on. I remember the shock at a residential here, this building for a start, deer, I'd never seen deer, and that the people here were nothing like my peers at the other big university. They were funny and diverse, different ages, different life experiences, and all committed to this interesting idea of supporting the learning of adults. Equity and justice and fairness was in the air that we all breathed. The University of New England is Australia, as we've heard, is Australia's first regional university, and it was set up to deliver education to all of Australia, probably the most ambitious vision of any Australian university at establishment. The inaugural Vice-Chancellor, Robert Madgwick, was a pioneer of distance education and in people-focused education more generally. Philosophically, he believed that the world was always changing and that education must look forward and equip people to be ready for and navigate change. It's no good getting a degree and looking backwards. The world is going to change and you will be ready for it. At the University of New England, I was closer to all of Australia than I had ever been at the big university and at many of the other universities I have since worked at or studied at. So I continued that diploma of adult education while learning that I did, in fact, love medicine. I continued that diploma while learning and working in malaria in West Africa. I continued that diploma while working in drug and alcohol medicine in the Northern Territory and while responding to the early days of the HIV epidemic. And many years later, I took its lessons of critical thinking, respectful engagement with learners, and equity for all into the medical school that we established at the Australian National University. This year, we graduate our first doctors who came to Australia as child asylum seekers and who have themselves navigated difficult paths, tortuous paths across mountains. Robert Madgwick said of this great experiment, education should be an adventure, something that we undertake because it is interesting as well as instructive. The success of our scheme will be measured by the number of men who become more tolerant of the other man's opinion. Setting aside the gendered language of Robert Madgwick writing in the 50s, I think that is very relevant to those of us who work in health. It is very easy in our field to cling to the perspective of powerful peers and supervisors and to reiterate unconsidered judgments about those who come to us asking for help. You are off to a great start, reflecting the values of this university. Reiterating Madgwick, the success of education is measured by the number of graduates who have become more tolerant of another person's opinion, who can respectfully engage and make changes together. You begin now on your own adventure and your own path through the mountain. I celebrate your achievements and I look forward to the new worlds that you will create. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris, for your most interesting and inspiring address. I'm so proud that UNE helped you discover and appreciate your talent and equipped you to look forward in the adventure of your education. For me, if that's not a launch pad for you, you've missed that microsecond. Before we continue with our ceremony, we have a special musical interlude to celebrate this momentous occasion. The music for today's ceremony is proudly brought to us by the New England Conservatorium of Music. We are privileged to be joined by three outstanding musicians: Dr. Deirdre Rickards, OAM, Sarah Sandgroves, and Malcolm Liddell. Please join me in welcoming them and enjoy the performance.
Let the bright sun beam in
Thank you very much for a wonderful performance. I now invite the Head of the School of Health, Professor Carl Roberts, to commence presenting the undergraduate awards.
Acting Chancellor, I now have the pleasure to present you those graduates newly admitted to the degree of Bachelor with Honours and Bachelor from the School of Health. Bachelor of Pharmacy with Honours, Tadwishani Innocent Mutezi. Tamara Vicky Peterson. Henry George Coldham, who graduates with the New England Award. Amfo Raitumetsi Nayat Petsi. Dominique Meyer. Graduating with a Bachelor of Nursing, James Anthony Bartlett. Asmita Batare. Lila Jasmine Bolger. Deepshika Shongbang. Pushpa Dangal. Angten Doma Dorji. Mamata Thapa Gautam. Mohit Kshesri. Babita Basnet Kunwa. Tamara Kate Lawson. Favor Thompson Manam. Sunita Nepal. Namrata Sathit. Monesh Raj Subedi. Graduating with a Bachelor of Social Work, Jennifer Mary Allen. Batul Ismail. Rosemary Martin. Amy Moon. Bianca Rachel Morrow. Georgie Lauren Moss. Barclay Tugbe Walters III. Acting Chancellor, I now have the honour to invite the Head of the School of Psychology, Professor Einar Thorstenstein, to present those graduates newly admitted to the Undergraduate Award who are able to present at this ceremony.
Acting Chancellor, I now have the honour to present to you those graduates newly admitted to the degree of Bachelor and those graduates awarded the degree, the diploma from the School of Psychology. Bachelor of Psychological Science, Anika Bogist. Tara Camille Daniels, also receiving the Vice Chancellor's Scholar Award. Catherine Joy Dennett, also receiving the Vice Chancellor's Scholar Award. Marjolein Fitzgerald. Samantha Ray Izzard. Vicky Ann McCarter. Delaney Lee Moss. Stephanie Pegg. Monique Joan Peters. Kirsten Bella Rini. Christine Ann Ridgway. Christina Wilt de Cantor. Fiona Michelle Warboys, also receiving the Vice Chancellor's Scholar Award. Now, for Diploma in Psychological Science, we have Brooke Lee Curtis. Acting Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of awards from the Faculty of Medicine and Health to graduates who are able to be present at this ceremony.
Well, congratulations. Thank you. I now invite Tara La, Doctor of Philosophy and recipient of the Chancellor's Doctoral Research Medal, to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of the graduates.
I would like to begin by acknowledging the Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, Council members, local elder, distinguished guests, academic staff, fellow graduates, family and friends. I would also like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today, the Anawan people. And I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. I also wish to extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here today and acknowledge the profound wisdom that comes from 35,000 years of being, knowing and doing. It is a great honour to have been asked to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of all students in the Faculty of Medicine and Health. It caused me to reflect deeply on what UNE had given me. Why am I grateful to UNE? And I realised it was because, unlike so many other universities, they valued my differentness. I am atypical. I have had an interesting life. I am an immigrant to Australia with a mixed ethnic background. I am half English, half Indian, with a complicated life history. Growing up, all I wanted was to be normal. I struggled to fit in, to feel that I belonged. And I certainly never felt that I belonged in the academic world. In 2018, I started my PhD here at UNE at 47 years of age. It had been 18 years since I had last set foot in a university, since I had last undertaken any formal study. Rather, in that time, after working for several years as a physiotherapist, I had joined New South Wales Fire Brigades in 2005 and became an operational firefighter. It turns out that holding hoses and putting out fires are not very transferable academic skills. I didn't exactly have a lot of academic runs on the board to back my application to embark on a PhD. But I did have a wealth of lived experience, and I had curiosity and passion in abundance. When I approached other universities, I couldn't even speak to a human being. I didn't have an undergraduate degree in psychology or in social work, the fields that most closely related to my PhD, and therefore I was not eligible to do a PhD. Full stop, end of story. But UNE welcomed me with open arms. They valued my lived experience of losing my brother to suicide and of being a firefighter. They valued other ways of learning. They valued that I had written an autobiographical book, even though it was not an academic piece of work. They valued my differentness, my uniqueness. They took a chance on me. Right from the very beginning of my time at UNE, they showed an openness to different ways of thinking and learning. Within the first month of my PhD, my incredible supervisor, Miff Maple, had arranged a research writing retreat full of both students, early career researchers and academics, a time of intense learning deep in nature. The growth and learning that came from that time was as much about the relationships built as it was about putting pen to paper. I met a fellow PhD student then, and we travelled our journeys together, all the way, every step, both deepening each other's research through our different perspectives. Our fields of study were totally different. Our personalities, our backgrounds, our looks, our approach to life could not be more different. But we became close friends and we enriched each other's work and lives. Halfway through my PhD, I turned to my primary supervisor and I said, "What would you say if I said I wanted to take 2 months out to cycle across Australia to raise awareness around suicide prevention and money for Lifeline?" She didn't bat an eyelid. She just said, "Go for it," closely followed by, "Can I join you?" MIF knew that time away from your desk is as valuable as the time spent at it. My deepest thinking came during the time I spent pedalling, immersed in remote outback Australia, through the stories I heard, the conversations I had, and space to process all the stories that informed my research. We grow because of diversity, because it expands our perspectives, enabling us to think more broadly about knowledge gain and learning beyond traditional academic models. I am forever grateful to UNE, to my academic supervisors, to the higher degree by research team, and to all the IT staff whom I pretty much had on speed dial from day dot. Thank you from me to you for taking a chance on me, for believing in me when I and others didn't. Thank you for valuing my differentness and the expansion and learning that comes from it. My message to everyone here today is to seek your uniqueness. Find it, love it, learn from it, grow from it. Value your difference, value your struggles, even value your pain and your suffering, because these are your greatest teachers, and within them lie your greatest gifts. Thank you.
Thank you, Tara, for your lovely and thoughtful vote of thanks. I'm so proud you found your space at UNE, a place where you got to scratch that itch of curiosity and passion. We love different. I'm sure your brother would be very proud of you. Congratulations to you and all our graduates on your graduation day. As I said, take time to reflect and savour it, and use that microsecond whenever it appears to come back here and use it as a launching pad. You are now part of the UNE alumni family, and I encourage you to stay connected with us in the years ahead, whether by undertaking further study, God forbid you think about that now, encourage your family and friends to study with us, engage with UNE alumni through events and activities, or keep up with news about the impact our staff are having on the world. If you haven't already done so, there's an alumni tent behind Boole where you can receive more information and stay in touch. I wish you all the very best for your careers ahead. I look forward to hearing about the difference UNE has made to your world and the difference you make on behalf of yourself, your family, your community, or even broader than that. As new opportunities unfold before you, we take great pride in having accompanied you on this chapter of your journey. I'd now like to ask the graduates to acknowledge the great contribution made by your family and friends. If you could stand up, turn around, and a little clap, or big clap. Thank you, and if you could resume your seats. Before we close today's ceremony, we have one final moment to share with our newest graduates. In a moment, I'll invite you to launch your trenches In celebration, a gesture that marks not only the completion of your studies, but the beginning of what lies ahead. Now, do take care when you do so, because you're going to have to collect them, so don't go too hard. So, if you could all be upstanding. Today, as you lift your trenches, is it not only a celebration of your own achievements, but a reflection of the university sending you forth into your profession, your communities, and the wider world to contribute with knowledge, creativity, and purpose. And now, on the count of 3, get ready. 1, 2, 3. Some of those might come back tomorrow, I think. So, yeah. Please be seated. I all hope that you continue to enjoy the wonderful atmosphere which graduation creates, and that you will take advantage of the various hospitalities and celebrate with your family and friends. Thanks for joining us here today. I declare the ceremony closed and ask that the congregation to please stand for the academic anthem, Graduates Igitor, and after the anthem, the newly admitted graduates are invited to follow the procession out. Have a lovely afternoon, enjoy your celebrations, travel safely. Thank you.
you.